Detroit Pistons fans, NBA fans. It's your man 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. Well, so far, there's little clouds coming over right now, but it's supposed to open up. Sunshine. You know, I'm all about the sunshine. That gives me energy, gives me life, from the people of the sun. You feel me? Um, I'm excited about today's topic because last night had to crash out a little bit. Had to crash out a little bit. That was not the team that I wanted to see. Our Detroit Pistons were not, that was not the squad I wanted to see. How they played was not what I wanted to see. And I was struggling. I was struggling through it. And what I woke up this morning realizing is leadership. Leadership. That's a term that came to mind. How are we doing in terms of leadership? And I would say a lot of people had valid points. I think it was like Truth, something was on there last night. He kept being like, hey, man, hey, you being real negative. The team is growing, they're learning, they're young. And you're right. You was 100% right. You see, the thing is about life, more than one thing can be true at the same time. You know why? Because all of us come from different perspectives. All of us have our own perspective. There's no such thing as objectivity, right? Everyone comes from a subjective perspective. And mine just so happened to be that I had expectations of the performance of a team that may not have been ready to perform at that level. And yet it was still okay that I held them accountable while also I have the ability to validate and acknowledge what they did well and be patient. You see where I'm going with this? There's an and, there's a also, there's a yes and okay, let's add to that. And then it gives us a bigger and fuller picture. That's probably gonna be the word for the day at the end of this. But stay tuned for that. Sandro, it's good to see you in the chat. Big at you, as always, good to see you in the chat. 1313, IG, it's good to see you. Yo, so before I get started in this, let me just say, smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. It's a small thing for you, but it's a big thing for me and the channel. So I appreciate all the love and support. I really do. It's not a small thing. I was just telling my daughter, um, I said, man, Poppy's been on his channel a lot. And she was like, yeah, you've been on your channel a lot. And I was like, you remember when I first got started? She was like, oh, last year. I was like, nope. She was like, when? 2 years ago? I was like, nope. I said, like 5 years ago. 5 years ago. 5 years ago. That's when I got started. Doing videos one at a time, uncertain, insecure about how it's going to come out, all that stuff. Yep. Shout out to my daughter. Shout out to my daughter. She's over here doing her hair, putting little Bantu knots. Let me just, all this to say is that it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey. So I appreciate everyone who's been here along the way. Yeah. Shout out to all of you. But let's dive into this because today's topic is about leadership and why Cade Cunningham and the Pistons need Ivey and Ausar to ascend into leaders. They need them. They need them. Now, I caveat that with I have said for a long time that the full accompaniment of this team, Ghostkeeper was good. Stephanie Williams, is good to see you. I have said for a while that these Detroit Pistons, this young core, is like the Avengers. It's like the Avengers. It's not a Batman Robin situation, even though right now Cade with Duran is kind of a Batman Robin situation. But it's to say, when this full accompaniment of these talented young players come together and really gel, they're going to be like the Avengers. No one person is going to be bigger than the group. No one person is not necessary for the success of the whole group. A major couple of pieces for these Avengers, for these Detroit Pistons. I say pull it back. Yeah. Is Ivey and Ausar. Is Ivey and Ausar. And I want to start this off with my man, Mr. Tony J. Mr. Tony J, one of my subscribers, had an amazing point. We went back and forth about the whole Avengers analogy, and he outlined it perfectly. He said, now I am thinking about which Avengers they all are. I think clearly Ron Holland is our Spider-Man, kind of like Tom Holland. Completely. Completely. I think Ron Holland is definitely Spider-Man for us. He's the young guy, one that we kind of all look out for. We see his potential, but sometimes we're scared of what he might do out there. And it says he's growing into it though. Cade Cunningham is Captain America, clearly. Jalen Duren is Iron Man. I didn't know about that one, but I was neither here nor there. If I'm honest with you, I would probably say Ausar is more Iron Man because he's more like methodical, you know, has that like critical lens, like really sees the game. I would say Jalen Duren is more Thor than Iron Man, but I get the comparison. Jay Ivey is Black Panther for sure, for sure, for sure. I love that one. Um, we all know about his brother Isaiah Stewart is our Hulk. Yep, Mr. Crash Out himself. Duncan Robinson is Hawkeye. Facts. Tobias Harris is Falcon. I like that. I like that. Paul Reed is War Machine, our backup Iron Man. Yeah. I like that. Dennis Jenkins is Ant Man. I can see it. JB Bickerstaff is Nick Fury. I can see that too. And then he says, wait, who should actually be Doctor Strange? And then I said, Trajan Langdon, of course. I said Trajan Langdon could be Doctor Strange. And of course he responded with, yeah, I can see that. Right. So, fun little conversation about the Avengers and these Detroit Pistons. But here's the thing. This is where all this is going. Is that I don't know if y'all follow the whole Marvel comics. There's a whole there was a whole movie about like this warring that happened between them, right? There was the whole Bucky situation, Captain America's best friend, who was manipulated by Hydra, mind control, all that stuff. And then Iron Man was like, no, you got to bring him in. And if you're against us, I don't know, this whole internal war thing, right? All that to say is that's to the level. Yeah, it looks great, kid. That's the level that they hold each other accountable. That's the level that they hold each other accountable. That they're willing to go at odds with one another. They're willing to go at one another. Hey, bro, get it together. Hey, bro, I don't agree with that at all. Hey, what are you doing out there? And that's what was missing in this game. There was nobody stepping up to hold this team accountable to the culture, to the style, to the defense, to the way that this team was supposed to be performing. Nobody. Guys were just chucking up shots, going ISO ball the whole time. The whole offensive scheme of passing the ball up ahead and getting that point of attack defender off of Cade so it can make the game easier for Cade so he can have more energy to expend on defense and in transition, getting other guys involved in the game, not allowing Cade to become a black hole, all those different things, right? Just all went out the window and nobody said anything. Nobody said anything. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I didn't see what was said at halftime. Maybe I didn't see what was said in a timeout. Maybe they weren't mic'd up. But the reality is many times not just anybody can say anything to everybody. Many times there are certain individuals who have the talent, have the mindset, have that heart, determination, and the position on the team to be able to speak up and say something. And I want to bring us back to there was a moment a few games ago where Ausar Thompson and Jalen Duren got into it. Now, I went back and I watched that play several times. There's several things that are going on. In that play, I believe it's Andre Drummond gets the ball. He turns and he faces. Jalen Duren slides over. And then Duren passes behind Jalen Duren. And that guy scores. And Ausar Thompson is a little bit behind being able to make that play. And Ausar Thompson says something to Duren, and Duren kind of snaps and says something back to Ausar Thompson. Now, when I watch that play, they're both a little bit right. Ausar Thompson, I ended up leaning towards. Because Asar Thompson covers for this team on the defensive end in ways that I don't even think his teammates know. He sacrifices many times, leaving his man open to overhelp and see in advance who our guys are losing track of to cover them, believing that he can get back and cover his man. So he'll rotate over to the guy that no one else noticed has backdoored, cut to the basket, is wide open underneath, and leave his man open on the wing. And then they swing the ball to his man, and now he's trying to sprint out to close out and keep his guy from scoring. So he's doing extra work, flying around trying to cover for people. And I don't even know if our guys notice. I don't know if the coaching staff has noticed. If I'm honest with you, I would start encouraging Asar Thompson not to fly around, but to actually communicate. Instead of running around expending physical energy, communicate. During watch a six, turn around, on your right. Communicate. Cade, drop down. Ivey, go left. I got it. Talk. If you listen to Rajon Rondo's interview on Thanos Antetokounmpo's podcast, great interview, right? Because I watch a lot of everybody. And he talks about that was one of the major things he had to work on with the guards for the Milwaukee Bucks. And it's no wonder Ryan Rollins, in combination of working out with Dennis Jenkins' trainer and having Rajon Rondo as a primary assistant coach working with him, that he has had this huge jump this year, not just in terms of talent and performance, but also leadership, expectations. These guys are taking a leap in Milwaukee. Ryan Rollins, Cole Anthony. I'm still looking forward to Kevin Porter Jr. coming back as well. That's going to be a nice guard rotation. But one of the things that Rondo talked about was he had to teach them that they are supposed to be the leader in communicating to the team, to know where everyone is supposed to be, knowing what everyone's responsibility is and what the scheme is, and holding people accountable. He talks about what it meant to be one of the youngest active point guards for an NBA championship team in NBA history. I think he's like 19, 20 years old when he's or maybe 21 at the oldest, when he's the point guard for the Boston Celtics when they beat the Lakers in the NBA Finals. He's having to instruct Hall of Famers who are at the time set Hall of Famers. Ray Allen's career was set for the Hall of Fame. You already had Milwaukee, Ray Allen, right? That's when he was Jesus Shuttlesworth. You already had Seattle, Ray Allen, where he becomes, at the time, arguably the greatest shooter in NBA history at that time. Then you had Paul Pierce, who's already a bona fide all-star, right? Nicknamed The Truth. Here he comes with Kendrick Perkins, Leon Poe, James Posey, all these veteran guys who've been around, Tony Allen. I forget the other guys on that squad. What's his name? Brother that's actually from the Bay Area, Eddie House, right? He had a whole squad of older dudes. And here he is leading, talking. And that was something that he emphasized. Well, I would say that's a big reason why Ryan Rollins is ascending the way he is. Big reason why Dennis Jenkins, working with the same trainer, has that potential. But I think he could even become a better communicator and a better leader because this team needs it. Cade needs it. Cade needs it. Not everybody can be everything, right? Michael Jordan, in a lot of ways, sucked as a leader. If you have to punch your teammates in the face, you're not leading well. Let me be clear about that. If you are inflicting violence to the people you are leading, you're not leading well. I'm going to be clear about that. If you are in a marriage, if you are in a relationship, inflicting violence to your partner, you're not leading well. That's called domestic abuse. comes with 8 to 10 year sentences. All right. That's what that is. That's not leadership. That's a lack of self-control and communication. Right? Scottie Pippen comes along. Scottie Pippen becomes the leader on the floor. He's the one that could talk to everybody. Jordan still talked. And Scottie Pippen came over like, all right, look, hey man, let's just this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. That's who Tony Kukoc looked to. Luke Longley looked to. Horace Grant looked to. Because Horace Grant wasn't about that life. Horace Grant was about to beat the hell out of Jordan. Like, I wish you would, bro. Say something to me, bro. Say something. I'll whoop your behind, Jordan. I don't know who you think you are. That's why he was left out of the whole Last Dance, right? Because Horace Grant don't play. Horace Grant was one of those dudes, right? Bill Cartwright too. Bill Cartwright, like, who? I know you ain't yelling at me. I will choke slam you, bro. I don't know. I wish you would swing at me. You know, it's kind of telling Jordan swinging at people that don't swing back, right? Bill Winnington, Steve Kerr, right? There's certain guys who just like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. Some of us grew up with the I wish you would. You gonna fight me today? You gonna fight me every day until I get my lick back. I'm just saying, I digress. Scottie Pippen was needed for Jordan, right? Phil Jackson had to pull him aside and be like, hey man, we have to play different if we're gonna get the most out of this roster, out of this team. You can't keep punching everybody in the face because you get frustrated. Now I'm not saying Cade is that. Cade is almost on the opposite end. He's a nice guy. Everybody loves him. Everybody likes him. But is he holding people accountable? That's the big question. That's the big question. Hang on one second. Speaking of accountability. Shasha. Go make your breakfast. Sorry. Still got to be a dad. There's the pineapple that you wanted. Okay. You might hear some cereal getting poured in the background. Not everybody can be everything. Not everybody can be everything. Some people have their roles. And I think for the most part, Cade is going to grow into that. I think Cade is going to grow into being more responsible on the offensive end to make sure that we are executing our offense. But if I'm honest with you, I think Dennis Jenkins is going to eventually be that guy. Maybe it's in a 6-man role, likely in a 6-man role. But if I'm honest with you, I think our best closing 5 is going to be Dennis, Ivey, Cade, Ausar, Duren, or Stu. That's going to be our best closing 5. Because Dennis Jenkins is a natural floor general and leader. He gets us into our offense incredibly well. Incredibly well. He sees the floor. He's unselfish, but he's also aggressive. He gets us exactly where we need to be. Now, here's the thing. And I actually got to head out in a little bit. These are roles that people have to grow into. They have to grow into. And what that looks like is this team beginning to embrace who they actually are. Ausar Thompson, you anchor our defense. You are the best player out there on our defense by far, dominating on defense. Jaden Ivey, you're our, I don't want to say like heart and soul, but like you are a heartbeat. Your tempo, your aggressiveness, your focus out there when it comes to being determined to get to the rack, how you play is really how this team needs to play. Cade, you are our kind of superstar captain where it's like you kind of lead the way. Like this team, you raise our ceiling. You raise our ceiling from here to here. Right? Each of these guys has a role, but they've got to be positioned. And this is a major reason why I keep waiting for and being his insertion into the starting lineup. The sooner Ivey gets inserted into the starting lineup, the better. Because somebody has to be able to get us to play our brand of basketball. Mommy, come on now. How much cereal you pouring? All right. Let me just say this because I got to go do dad stuff. And we actually got to head out. When Asar steps into that position and really embraces his leadership, when he embraces that leadership on this team, to be that for us, to be someone who understands his role, not just offensively being aggressive, not just the rebounding, not just making the plays on the defensive end. When he steps into his role and his responsibility on this team, when Ivey steps into his role and responsibility on this team, Cade is going to be able to slot into maximizing his role and responsibility on this team. You see, right now, the reality is we're probably asking Cade to take on too much. We're asking Cade to take on too much. We need him to do everything. We need him to do everything. And he can't do it. Ivey, he gets us off to that start. He gets us playing determined basketball, playing at a high pace, aggressive, getting up and down the court. Dennis Jenkins, he does that as well. But he does a better job of running the show. Ausar Thompson gets us out in transition. All those guys speed up the game. Why is that necessary? Because Cade and Duren don't always move at a fast tempo. And sometimes they come out flat and slow. Sandra with the question, does a team need more than one leader to be successful? Yes, always. There's never just one leader. Never. Many times, many different players lead in their own way. And is extremely necessary to piece all together so that the team can maximize its potential. In this situation, Cade, Ivey, Ausar are probably the three leaders. That's the core. Duren, his interior play, his physicality, right? He's got that Thor energy. May not be the guy who's going to smarts you and all that stuff and comes up with the plans and strategies, but that energy, that force is big time for us. We got Stu as the Hulk. He's that reinforcer. You need that energy because Cade, Ivey, Ausar, Duren, they're not enforcers. They're just not. They're not. They're not jumping in anybody's face when it's necessary because you know in the finals, there's going to be those moments. There's always a Draymond necessity. There's always a Kevin Garnett, Kendrick Perkins necessity. There's always somebody who needs to step in and be like, not today. That ain't what we're doing out here. Somebody's got to do it. Dennis Jenkins, right? Somebody's got to see the floor and be like, hold on, slow it. So-and-so hasn't touched the ball in a while. So-and-so needs a good look, right? Let's run this action. Somebody has to play these different roles. I think we've got it. I think we've got the guys. But JB Bickerstaff is going to have to commit to him. JB Bickerstaff is going to have to accept it. JB Bickerstaff is going to have to embrace it. And I keep saying, Karis LeVert is not one of them. You can hate me for it. Hit me up in the comments about it. He's not. He's not Detroit basketball. He could play as an auxiliary piece. Should not be a primary core piece. Should not. He can give us good minutes. He can slide in, play a role. He almost be like low-key. That's who Karis LeVert is right now. He's low-key. He's low-key, right? After he tries to be good. He's low-key. He can be problematic often. He can get on your nerves and kind of do his own thing, not necessarily be the best part of the team effort, right? He's effective. He's still got talent, skill. But that's not who you're looking to be your strategic leader. And we have to embrace that. When it comes time to winning, we got to make sure our leaders are out there. We have to make sure our leaders are out there. And so I think that that's an adjustment that we will see throughout the course of this week because I think that that's just evident. It's just evident. And if it's not noticed, you know, on my channel, I'm going to make sure that we talk about it. But hey, I got to get up out of here. Yeah, I'm the daddy-daughter day. I got my sister and my niece and nephew coming, about to go do some fun stuff. Look, I always like to leave y'all with a word of the day. More than one thing can be true at the same time. That's my word of the day. More than one thing can be true at the same time. There's this myth of objectivity that that somehow we see it all. And a lot of it is perpetuated by patriarchy and hierarchical thinking and supremacy and stuff like that. That certain people see more than others, and you know they should have the right to dictate to others. The reality is, we all see a piece of the picture. In the work that I do, work with couples and individuals and stuff like that. I recognize that everyone's point of view makes sense when you understand where they've come from and their experience in life. And so as a result, you're able to kind of understand that how you responded was based on your experience. How you responded was on your experience. Now, if you argue about who's true or not, you both end up true. If you argue about who's wrong, well, to some extent, both of you are wrong, coming from a different perspective. And yet, it would be true to say you're also correct. Where does that leave us? Is that it's not effective to argue about who's right. What's more effective is to just be honest and be able to have space to accept each other's perspective and then figure out how you want to move forward. All this to say is keep that in mind from day to day. Working with your kids, your partner, at work, when someone sees something different, that's why. Now, sometimes people are just wilding, right? Sometimes people are just crazy, right? When people are just like, you know, uh, certain people deserve to be harmed. I'm not with that, right? You know, break up families at the border. Sorry if it gets political. You know, I'm not with that, right? So I don't, you can have a perspective. I'm headed in a totally different direction. If that's where you're at, I don't have time to catch you up. Sorry, right? I think there should be justice and liberty for all, right? Uh, but if we could work together, let's work together. That's dope. But it takes an openness. It takes an acknowledgement and acceptance to be able to say, hey, you know what? We all see things a little bit differently, and that's okay. There could be more than one truth at the same time. Yo, enjoy your day. Love on your family this week. I know a bunch of kids are off this fall break. Um, Spend some time with them, eye to eye contact time. Do something fun. Pour into your relationships, right? Because that's really what life is about. Your relationships, the people around you that you love. Laugh hard as hell today, right? And live your life to the fullest. Love y'all. I'm going to get at y'all tomorrow morning for the preview for the Celtics game. Looking forward to it. Peace out.